What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Kickash Podcast. We are here today for a fun episode, in my opinion, because I am still in shock that this is actually a thing and a real item that we will be discussing and that we all witnessed. And that is John Cena's heel turn and his embracing of the dark side, selling his soul, all that good stuff, joining with The Rock of all people, and what this means for our good old faithful Cody Rhodes going forward, right? The American Nightmare, our A1 Day One babyface, and yeah, what that means for WrestleMania, for all the guys going into it involved, who could possibly show up at WrestleMania, and how we got to this point to begin with, and maybe there were some clues dropped along the way from last year that I myself didn't pick up on, and I feel kind of dumb for missing one of them in particular. But yeah, we're going to get into all that here momentarily. But just want to say thank you, as always, for checking out the show here. There are hundreds of, not even hundreds, there are thousands of channels out there specifically related to wrestling. So I appreciate you guys for clicking on this one and viewing and watching it as little as long as you do, and dropping comments too, because I love hearing your thoughts. And that's the main reason why I do this, is because I enjoy hearing from you guys, especially when I go live. Always it always feels like something's missing when I'm doing recordings now, because I really love and enjoy going live with you guys. So I appreciate you guys for popping in and doing the watch along. Was just just I couldn't have asked for a better watch along, right? For an elimination chamber with these big of items coming out of it, right? We got some returns. Of course, we got the big turn at the end, but we have some returns. Which this is going to be a full Elimination Chamber review show, because, like I said, I was doing the watch along, so you kind of got my thoughts live as they were happening. So check that out if you'd like. But I think one of the returns that we got from the chamber could potentially play into John Cena's farewell tour, so we'll mention that as well. But I just want to say, like I was saying, thank you, and I appreciate you guys for liking, subscribing, all that snazzy stuff. Or like I said, or like I always say, rather, if you dislike it, that's totally cool. I just like to know why, because I just like to hear everyone's thoughts. So let me know what you guys think of the John Cena turn though as well, and how long do you think this is gonna play out? What were you kind of expecting it, or were you completely shocked as I was? Yeah, just any of your. But I do want to get right into it, because you guys know me, I can ramble for God knows how long, and I'm trying to keep this one as short as possible, but hit as many things that is related to it as possible. So going back, and of course, I'm recording this Monday afternoon, so this is prior to Raw, but obviously after what happened at the Elimination Chamber. So I have seen a couple of tweets that have put some dots together, so shout out to, it's been so many, right? But there was this one picture in particular in reference to The Rock from back in Bad Blood. And between that and a interview that John Cena did with Chris Van Vliet back in March of last year, Chris Van Vliet asked him, or just kind of made a statement slash question. He was like, "Man, we live in a world right now where John Cena, or I'm sorry, where The Rock is a heel, is a bad guy. Like, what are the possibilities? Like, what if John Cena, ever became a heel, right? Like, what are the odds of that type of thing?" I don't remember Chris's exact wording, but Cena was like pretty much saying, like, it's, you never say never type of thing. He didn't say that specifically, but that was the vibe that he implied for it. And he was like, that's the normal evolution of life, like, people, you try to be good essentially, and people try to do the right thing, but people slip up, and things happen, and it's what you end up being at the end of it. And as long as you end up seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, that's pretty much all that matters, essentially. Definitely go check it out. I think the clip in particular is on Chris Van Vliet's clips channel, so definitely check that out. I think it's like CVV clips. I'll try to throw that in the show notes once I wrap up everything here from the recording. But that was very interesting, because it wasn't a John Cena answer where it's like, oh, like, and kind of like laughing it off or downplaying it, or even saying like, yeah, like, we tried to do it in the past, or wanted to do it in the past, but then it was nixed. He even referenced at one point that he had a whole new theme made up. He had like an idea for what his persona was going to be, all this stuff. I don't remember if he said gear or not, but he pretty much had like the whole persona in line, right, and an idea played out, but it was nixed due to the higher power, right? But now that higher power is changed in more ways than one, right? Vince is no longer involved, period. Triple H is running things, and we now have The Rock on the board of directors. So we are now in a world where John Cena is a bad guy, right? And it's still crazy to think about and to say that's an actual fact. So like I said, we'll obviously be getting into how that happened, the ending of the Elimination Chamber, and which was a sign there as well, playing into where The Rock ended up coming out and addressing Cody and things like that. And can't forget Travis Scott was there as well with some sage or whatever. Like, I don't know what the fuck he was doing. And to me, like, I hate, like, it doesn't matter who was out there, but it was just super distracting, right? Like, and I don't think that anyone should have been in the ring, whether it was a referee, Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, any of the interviewers, Triple H himself, anyone else. It should have just been John Cena, The Rock, and Cody Rhodes, in my opinion. So I think that maybe in retrospect they probably would have wanted to change that, but I don't know, man. It just that kind of, I don't want to say it took me out of it, but it was just kind of annoying to be honest with you. But I mean, really, as a whole, I'm just still so thrilled that we even are that we're even living in this world, like I said, where we witness what we witness. Period. So, with all that being said, getting right into it, the final moments of the Elimination Chamber for the men's match, which ended up being, no surprise, the main event. But what I was debating throughout the show too was where, like, obviously at the start of the show, where The Rock and Cody Rhodes segment was going to be. And then once we ended up getting to the main event, it was pretty obvious, like, okay, like the Chamber's going to go, and then The Rock, Cody, they're going to follow up with it. And that led to me wondering, like, okay, so it's going to be interesting. What does the winner of the men's chamber end up doing? Like, do they just kind of like bow down, not bow down, but bow out and leave the ring for, Cody and The Rock and whatever to take place? Or do they stay in the ring? Which we ended up getting the answers to that as well. But again, this isn't gonna be a full review of the chamber PLE itself because I did a watch along. So definitely feel free, go back and feel free to check that out if you'd like. But the obviously the men's chamber match played a big role into the events with The Rock and Cody. So what I think was telling, and not even think, what has been pretty telling, and what we all should have just got 100% right away, was the fact that John Cena took advantage of a fallen man, right? He took advantage of a fallen CM Punk. The closing moments, which I was just stoked that it ended up being Punk and Punk and John Cena, because I think that it could have been like a nice little test and a trial run to see, like, okay, are people still as invested in a potential matchup between these two? And I think that pretty much answered the question there. But the fact that Rollins hit CM Punk with the curb stop and Punk was out, and Cena still took advantage of it, tried to get the win with the AA, but ended up putting Punk in the SCFU, always been SCFU, and allowed CM Punk to just fade out and pass out, right? Go to sleep, ironically enough. That should have been like a oh shit type of moment, like, yo, like, what is wrong with John's? First, if you flash back again, you see John being very irritated and very almost pissed off at the Rumble press conference, saying that he's not going to take any questions. He's going to do what's best for business, and that's him becoming the 17-time world heavyweight champion, and WWE champion, the guy for the 17th time. So that right there, it's like, okay, like, that's not the John that we all know, right? That's not the hustle, loyalty, respect John Cena, the guy who, what I had advocated for, starting early in the Royal Rumble to really earn his victory and work his way to winning that main WrestleMania title shot. So the fact that he did end up winning the Elimination Chamber match without help of the bloodline or anything like that, which I'm very happy for. Obviously we'll get to potentially the bloodline could have been involved here in a moment. But he advantage, like I said, of fallen opponent, right? Whether that's CM Punk or anyone. The John Cena that we all know would have at least given CM Punk time to either get up or not, just not taking advantage and not jumped on him being down right away. You at least would have given him a moment to, like I said, get back up, or maybe go out there and try to beat up Rollins, and just do something, right? To not just deliberately take advantage of the situation. And that's not what he did. That dude, he dragged Punk's ass right back in the ring, hit him with the AA, that didn't work, and then he tried hitting him with the STFU, right? So I think that, or he hit the AA first, and then that's what prompted Rollins to go, or I keep it, God, that's what prompted Punk to get into the ropes and allow Rollins to hit Punk with the stomp, which again, I love the story there too, because Rollins was at the point essentially where, of course, he wants to get to the WrestleMania main event, right? Like, who doesn't? But he was almost at the point where, fuck it, like, if I can't get to the main event, CM Punk definitely isn't, right? And he even said, over my dead body type of thing, and he lived up to that. So that's definitely going to play into Punk's match at WrestleMania, which will be interesting to see if it ends up being a triple threat match or just a one-on-one match, which we'll get to here in a second. But after that, John Cena is your victor. All is well in John Cena's world. He should be happy, right? Then Cody Rhodes music plays, which to be expected, right? That is the man that Cena will be challenging for, so makes sense. Everything is kumbaya at the beginning, right? Like, they're happy to see each other, but then The Rock's music hits. Right after If You Smell hits, they did some type of mashup again with this time Travis Scott's music, which I completely forgot that they even advertised him. I was like, oh shit, that's right, Travis is supposed to be here. And again, like, it just really irritated me that he at least could have done the entrance with The Rock, right? Like, gone into the ring, but then leave, right? Like, and again, doesn't matter if it was Travis Scott, like, I have nothing against him. But like, it could have been him, anyone for that matter. Like, even minimal cameramen, like, just don't be in the shot, because as a monumental moment as that was and is going to be going forward in the annals of the history books, right? You just want it to be as clean and crisp as possible, right? And as zeroed in on the impact of the story and the characters involved that are key players as possible, in my opinion. So that's kind of why it was annoying me. But Rock ended up making his way out there with Travis Scott, and then Travis Scott went to the far turnbuckle on the right and was like saging himself or some shit. I don't even know what he was doing. And he was drinking something. I don't know what he had, what can that was, or what he was drinking, but that dude was loving it. So I hope he has. I'm sure he has some type of like sponsorship or something for it, but I don't know. But the fact that John Cena was still in the ring, I think, like I was referencing earlier, was pretty telling as well. The fact that it makes sense, like I was saying, for Cody Rhodes to come out there, acknowledge Cena, no pun intended, and to set the scene for and get that visual, right? That shot, so they can throw that on the promotional ads for John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, and that's going to be one of the images in the video packages, right? So that totally makes sense. But the fact that Cena stayed in the ring, I think, was very interesting as well in retrospect. Cody and The Rock are obviously there to not confront each other, but Cody's there to give The Rock answers, right? And they're there for a face to face. And for Cody to answer The Rock's passive, almost aggressive demand question, telling you to do something type statement, right? Like, like, sell your soul to me, damn it. Essentially is what The Rock was saying to him. And I think where The Rock went wrong, if Rock had a chance to do things over, I think he may not have made that particular weight belt with Cody's soul being on it, but more importantly, the date of Dusty Rhodes passing. I think that is really what did The Rock's whole demand and want for Cody to be on Team Rock and corporate Rock. I think that's what may have done it in, if I had to throw a dart there in the dark. But The Rock started it awkwardly again with putting his hand on the side of Cody's face, and it's just fucking crazy. And I know, like, it just is what it is. But The Rock is just a massive human being, and even his fucking hands are just massive. They're like bear claws. So seeing it against Cody's little baby face, pun I guess intended there, all these fucking puns. But it was just so like LOL little brother type thing. You know what I mean? It was just a funny visual. But The Rock says, Cody Rhodes, the moment has arrived. I will open my arms. You will come to me. You will embrace me as your brother, and I will embrace you as my champion. I want it all, Cody. I want your mind. I want your soul. And God have mercy, I need your soul. If the answer is yes, then the American nightmare will live forever. Look me in the eyes. If the answer is no, then tonight the dream dies again and again. Very well. Very well. Little soliloquy there from The Rock. I think that last line though was just so well, just such a good thought. The dream dies again. Obviously, the American dream. It's just in the date of. It's just so well done, right? Like, and if that wasn't a confirmation that Cody needed, you know what I mean, from The Rock, then bringing up again like the dream dies again, then I don't know what else would have been. And I was one who was like, okay, Cody going into the chamber, like Cody needs to have an explanation. We need to know why he's become BFS with The Rock, like all this shit, right? But it's like his response we need to hear from him, and it needs to really answer everything. And it's not what I was expecting, to say the very least. Nothing from this segment was what I was expecting, and I fucking love it. And we'll get to his response here now. But I think that it answered everything in such a brief way. So after The Rock pretty much makes his plea for Cody again, and it's just like just the wording, it's just so funny. But again, I will say that ending punch there, then tonight the dream dies again. Oh, just so well done. Almost like he's an actor. The Rock opened his arms though and says, and Cody says, "I want it all, Rock. My soul no longer belongs to me. Do you know why?" And he starts to get emotional. And he says, "Because I gave my soul to this ring and to these people a long time ago." And then people start, like screaming, like chanting, or not chanting, but like, celebrating what Cody is saying, yeah, yeah. And then he says, and this was all the explanation that I needed. He says, "Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself." And I fucking was like, what? They didn't bleep that shit out. He didn't say go F yourself. He didn't say nothing. He said, "Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself." And I could not have been prouder. I felt like he was channeling his inner Brandy Rhodes. Like, I feel like this dude, it was like a completely different Cody Rhodes that we saw in that one phrase. Like, I just couldn't have been fucking happier, yo. Like, it was just so well done. I loved it. And I loved that he was able to actually say the word fuck, and he actually said it, and it meant something, because this is Cody Rhodes, who is the clean cut guy, kissing babies, all that good shit. And he said the word fuck, he told somebody, and he told The Rock to go fuck himself. So I love it. And I think that was the perfect response that he needed. And like I said, wanted something, I ideally wanted to know why he was friends with The Rock all of a sudden now, but all I need to know now from Cody is that he wants The Rock to go fuck himself. So we're Gucci, man. Like, it was just so great. But then Cody Rhodes, it was just crazy. It was just crazy. Um, Hold on one second. I lost my notes. Okay, yeah. So Cena did the open mouth reaction and then pointing to his finger approvingly at Cody. Yes, Cena said before clapping his hands together. Again, this is shout out to ProWrestling.net for the transcription, which I will throw in the show notes at the end. And then Scott, and Travis Scott was leaning over in the corner and he was smiling, all that good shit. And he probably just said, like, I remember, like, I don't know if I said it or not, but I remember thinking, like, he's probably just like, he said, "Go fuck yourself." Okay, like, people say that shit every day, but it means a lot when you don't even say the word shit, on TV, let alone go fuck yourself. But Cody looked up at the WrestleMania sign and then looked back at The Rock. Cena approached Cody and hugged him. And this is where the moment in the wrestling world and everything as we knew it changed. We see this look from John Cena, guys. This look that will live in history. Literally will be the reference point for one of the biggest turns, if not the biggest turn, if not the biggest, the second biggest turn ever in wrestling history. Regardless of how it plays out from here on out, the fact that it even happened is that monumental. And some people have rivaled it already to overthrowing Hogan, which I'm not going to do quite yet. I want to see how this plays out a little bit longer, but just the significance and the history behind what happened with John Cena and The Rock and Cody Rhodes and how we got to this point, I think is there's a definite argument for that for sure. But I just want to see, and I want a little bit more time to see how this ends up playing out as a whole. But this visual right here is what will live forever, truly. And that's again what's just so great about wrestling, right? But at this moment, maybe the seconds leading up to it, right? John Cena was so happy that Cody Rhodes told him to go fuck himself, was saying, yeah, like you did it, and then gave him a hug. Happy go lucky Cena still. Then at this very moment, they lock eyes, John Cena and The Rock. The Rock gives him the throat gesture, like that, slicing his throat. John Cena knows what that means, kicks Cody in the nuts. Everyone loses their fucking mind. Right, like I think your jaw dropped when you saw Cena's face, and then or you were starting to be like your heart like for me like my heart was beating fast, and I was like, oh no, oh no, and then like the second we saw the neck kick, it's like, oh my god, like the low blow, bro. I if I was there, I would have. I don't even know. I probably would have screamed. I probably would have screamed. Um, but and again, I can't even imagine being there and being live for that moment, right? But Cena after that picked up what was Cody Rhodes' Rolex, not brass rings as Michael Cole had referenced, or brass rings, brass knuckles that Michael Cole referenced, but it was actually Cody's Rolex, which is that much more because that was the Rolex that Triple H, Nick Khan, and maybe someone else, or maybe just them two, had found that Dusty Rhodes had pawned for Cody and I believe his sister to go take acting lessons years ago. And they ended up finding the original Rolex and gifting it to Cody. So it's just even that much more of a fuck you from Cena to Rhodes by taking that Rolex and putting it on Cena's knuckles, right? And smashing Cody in the face with it. I think like twice. So it just seeing this viciousness from John Cena again was just something that I never would have in expected to actually be a real thing. And I think I'm partly still in shock. But Cena then picked up the WWE Championship belt, waited for Cody to stand up, and then hit him with it. Rock looked up, and just looked at Cena, and Cole was asking why does he need to sell out, which is a very good question, right? Why does John Cena need, of all people, need to sell out, right? Like if there's anyone who rivals The Rock's popularity, it's John Cena. When you're talking like Rock mentioned, right? He said he has what 500,000,000 Instagram followers. I don't even know how many followers John Cena has, but I'm sure it's up there, right? I'm sure it's more than Cody Rhodes. So of all people, John Cena should not need to sell his soul. So I think the explanation that we get from Cena is going to, it's got to answer that, right? But I'm sure, like, I just can't wait to see what type of bad guy he's going to end up being, right? Because it's not like we're going to get the Doctor of Thugonomics. He's not going to go out there and be freestyling every week, wearing the jerseys, the backwards hat, none of that shit. No chain gang, no nothing like that. What is this? What does this bad guy John Cena look like, right? Like, does he shave his head? Does he end up like cutting his hair off, or does he embrace the bald spot, right? Like, just what happened? But back to the beatdown. Cody was just knocked out. He ended up starting to bleed from the forehead, which I know he was fucking just thrilled about because Cody's that guy. He stood up and then Cena blasted him with another belt shot. Cena ripped Cody's jacket and shirt off. Of course, Cody Rhodes had the white button-up tee, or dress shirt rather, and ended up choking Cody with his own necktie, which I immediately thought of Daniel Bryan of, which I love that Powell mentioned it here as well, Jason Powell. But immediately I was like, oh wow, like that's how you know this shit is serious, because they're doing a choking angle, first of all, and then with the necktie. So there's that. And Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson ended up getting fired for that, which is just so fucking crazy now. um, but yeah, it's just how times have changed, and not we're not gonna get into it, right? But it's just funny, right? Different management, different times, different people, just one of those things. Cena held Cody's legs, and then Travis Scott, um, he oh my god, dude. Like he fucking just punched the ever loving shit out of Cody Rhodes' face. Like I don't know if he forgot that wrestling, like you need, you do what you gotta do, but like my bro just fucking just punched the shit out of Cody. If Cody doesn't have a bruised face, and a black eye after that, then God bless him. While Cody was still laying on the ground, though, and of course, thanks to Travis Scott for the assist, he was holding him down. The Rock started whipping Cody Rhodes again with the weight belt that had, of course, Cody's soul and the date of his father's death on it, that one that we saw on SmackDown. So that is the start, right? That is a callback as well to what happened to Cody Rhodes last year with the weight belt and that great scene, that great visual from outside when it was raining. Of course, that the rain just added so much to that just scene itself. But outside of Cody's tour bus, which if you think about it is kind of ironic as well because The Rock said, if you become my champion, you'll no longer need a tour bus because you'll barely be working, right? And just one of those things that just Cody could have had, but he told The Rock to go fuck himself. So as this happened and after this happened, The Rock and John Cena stood side by side with Travis Scott in the background. And I think what was just another telling visual as well, which I'll bring up here, is the visual that we had of John Cena putting his foot on Cody Rhodes' head and just standing there with that smug look on his face, his arms crossed on his hips, Travis Scott again in the background, just like, mean mugging it too, which, it looks tough. But then you have The Rock standing there with the weight belt that we just referenced also. And I think it was a nice touch that the necktie was still tied around Cody's throat, which he had just been strangled by. The fans started chanting "You sold out," which no, I think is just very appropriate as well. But then Rock, before they left the ring, grabbed and rubbed some of his being Cody Rhodes' blood onto The Rock's weight belt, that white weight belt, which again, just I know we're gonna see that, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if there ends up being a little bit more blood on it from after the fact, because Cody bled, but he wasn't pouring blood, but he did bleed, right? So I think he bled maybe just enough, but they probably would have been happier with a little bit more. But again, I'm not wanting. It's kind of a weird statement, right? But you wanted to be cool, right? But he probably would have hoped for a little bit more, just for that even if you're gonna bleed, man, bleed. You know what I mean? Probably one of those things. Not Eddie Guerrero or John Cena blood from back, and they're just gushing buckets, but if you're gonna do it type thing too. Right. But right after that, Barrett was on commentary stating nobody saw this coming, and nobody, which I think is a key point, came out to help Cody Rhodes because no one wanted to switch places with him and no one wanted to stand up to The Rock, right? Which I think is going to be very telling in the long term for the eventual turn for Cody, right? Like he can use this as a fuck you, just like go fuck yourself, Rock, like a fuck you to the locker room and everyone else for not being there for him. So that's maybe a potential little nugget way in the future. But again, we're nowhere near that right now, obviously. But Rock dropped the WWE Championship belt on Cody. Cena and Travis Scott left the ring, and then The Rock followed. He had that one last glare before he left the ring. Rock, Cena, and Travis Scott stood at the ringside with The Rock smiling, looking into the ringside camera, with the producers' credits airing, and then the screen went black. They then went back to a bloody Cody, who slowly got back to a seated position. He got to his feet, and there were cheers. Cole and Barrett entered the ring. A referee and McAfee held the ropes open for Cody. He went to the apron and looked to the crowd, and then at the Wrestlemania sign. Cody walked down the steps while holding the title belt and was escorted to the back by Cole and Barrett, while McAfee walked behind them. The screen went black again, and then they cut right back to the shot of the group making their exit while Joe Tessitore started the post-show. So, guys, that is the official turn of The Rock, right? And that is The Rock, not The Rock. That is the official turn of John Cena joining The Rock and becoming the corporate champion potentially that The Rock was looking for. That is what The Rock wanted from Cody, right? Like he wanted the championship. Now, if The Rock isn't going to challenge for it himself, he wants to be in the position where he can control the champion. The question that we have here too also is is it just going to be John Cena? Because The Rock's bloodline runs deep, right? And we do have that other guy out there. Oh, yeah, by the way, Roman Reigns, right? So the fact that Roman is still out there floating around, and what does this mean when we say that Roman is going to be coming back, right? They've already advertised him. He's going to be involved in the European tour, I believe it is. But the fact that Roman did have involvement with John Cena, or I'm sorry, with Cody Rhodes, right? Back in at Bad Blood, they teamed together. The Rock came out, which I'm going to show here, and showed and gave up the three, right? The three, which at the time we were like, what is he doing, right? There's the three. So the fact that he threw up the three, we're like, okay, that's at least me. I'll speak for myself again, right? Like that, I was like, that's kind of odd. Like, what is he? What is the three, and what does that mean? Now, when you bring it forward, it's very apropos because what does John Cena do, right? What is John Cena's thing? John Cena does the three as well. He's always done that. So that, and it's one of those things where I was like, damn, like I was really kicking myself because if you've seen John Cena, right, like he does the three. So I'm gonna get that pulled up here as well for the comparison. But looking back on it, The Rock could have been telling us all along and foreshadowing all along who he was referencing and what his eventual plan was going to be. And damn it, if the bloodline can't get it done, if Cody Rhodes won't join his side, then he's going to take care of it himself. And why I think Roman Reigns will not actually be siding with The Rock or John Cena is also the history that John Cena and Roman Reigns have together, right? We all remember that infamous promo segment with Roman Reigns and John Cena where John Cena just pretty much destroyed him. What was that, like 2017, I believe, time frame? When Roman was still being forced on everyone's throat, being the big dog, all that stuff. And to be fair, no, he was just put in that position, right? Like he can only do so much. And I'm sure he would not have been one to say the shit that he was saying. But John Cena really did not do him any favors. Or maybe he did actually do him favors in retrospect. But that night it was just one of those like, woo, like bro, like just demolishing him in the ring. So the fact that this is John Cena's signature, right? Like signature gesture, which I believe has been referenced to stand for hustle, loyalty, and respect, being three key things that he stands for. I guess the number three is just that symbolism for it. And then seeing what The Rock did at Bad Blood, it kind of all makes sense, right? And it all foreshadows what The Rock, or is all foreshadowed potentially from The Rock to begin with. Well, I don't think also Roman is going to align with The Rock is because Roman didn't get the job done last year. The Rock needed the bloodline to take advantage of Cody Rhodes and to complete his wishes of keeping the championship in their bloodline, and they failed. Roman Reigns specifically failed. So I don't think that Roman will be coming back and joining forces with them. If anything, like I predicted during the watch along, we could potentially be getting another monumental tag team matchup like we got last year, but this time with it being John Cena and The Rock facing off against Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, which I think would be just fucking insane. But I do think the fact that Cody Rhodes did not get any assistance at the Elimination Chamber can also play into something that we'll be getting at WrestleMania, and a big is an understatement, but a surprise that I think would just be glass shattering, and that is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold, I'm pretty certain went on record last year at some point to say that Cody didn't need him. Like if Cody needs him, he knows, like he knows where he can find him, type thing. But and I believe Austin has some personal things going on, either with himself or with a family member at that point. He just wasn't able to logistically make it to WrestleMania, and that's why we saw The Undertaker. But and as much as it would have been cool for me personally, since I was on Mania last year to see Stone Cold, I think it'll be perfect for Stone Cold to come back this year and to assist Cody Rhodes in the main event, right? Like there could be a situation where Cody Rhodes is outnumbered, The Rock is out there just whipping Cody's ass with the weight belt, Cena's already out there, like obviously in the match. It's just it kind of like a WrestleMania 17-esque moment where they're just wailing on him. But this time someone comes out to save the babyface, and that will be Stone Cold Steve Austin and that glass shattering to come out there and save Cody Rhodes. Because who is The Rock's biggest foil? And that's Stone Cold Steve Austin as well. So it answers and ties in so many different stories, very similar to like how last year did as well. And I think you could make a case for Roman Reigns coming out first to help Cody if they really want to pack the punch with Roman being a good guy as well. Or if you just kind of want to leave Roman still kind of in that gray area, you can leave him out of that inclusion and just have Austin be the one to come out there and save the day. So it could be a situation where Roman does come out and he tries to help Cody, but he just isn't. He gets outnumbered, right? And potentially you can have other members of the bloodline coming out to help Rock. You can have Jacob Fatu, depending on how strongly they're booking him as a babyface at that point. If they're still wanting him to be a bad guy, or Solo Sokoa, right? We all know the history between Solo and Cody. He could be out there just a numbers game, just beating down Cody and then beating down Roman, and then Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out there and saves the day for everyone. I do still think, though, at this point, I'm making an early prediction that you want John Cena to win the championship and win number 17. So I think it's going to be a matter of Stone Cold comes out there, cleans house, does hit a Stone Cold Stunner on The Rock, but then he ends up getting pushed out to the outside, or he's maybe he's being involved with something else, right? And he's being, like not beat down, but there's mingling with someone else, right? And then something happens in the ring where Cody gets willed, and Cody just gets knocked out, and then Cena, or maybe Cena hits, to complete the callback, Cena just beats Cody's ass with a chair, right? Whereas before it was just The Rock beating Cody with a weight belt. Maybe this time Cena's, like, fuck this, I'm done with this, and just like hammers Cody, or one good shot, right, with the chair, and Cody's out. And then that's how Cena wins number 17. Because what other despicable way and just piece of shit way that John Cena can win the championship by being this bad guy now is by cheating to win at the biggest stage of them all at WrestleMania, right? So I think that's just some of the early ways that you can do it. Again, or some of the early ways that I can see it playing out at WrestleMania. I'm just still fucking thrilled that they actually pulled the trigger on John Cena's heel turn. I'm excited to see what happens on Raw tonight and the weeks coming forward, and to see what that means for Cody Rhodes. And I think it is a testament to how strong of a babyface Cody Rhodes is. And who would have fucking imagined, right? And who would have thought 10 years ago, Cody Rhodes is going to be a pinnacle in the wrestling universe, and not even WWE. I say wrestling universe for a specific reason, because had he not left in 2016, gone on the indie scenes, really pushed the throttle and helped be a key factor and one of the EVPs, executive vice presidents for AEW, the competition to WWE. Say what you want about AEW right now, but that's not here. No, it's neither here nor there, right? Because they hit the scene and they made an impact. No, no shade to TNA. But they made an impact and they challenged WWE, and Cody Rhodes was then seen as, and elevated himself as, the guy and a main event player, and was like, fuck this, I'm betting on myself, I know my worth, I'm going to be a main event guy, I'm going to main event WrestleMania, and you're going to take me as the total package. And he came in, and to be fair, and to WWE's immense credit, they brought him in as his package. They said, you know what, bro, you're absolutely right. Like, you are a star and you are a money the way you are. All we want to do is put the machine behind you. And boy, did they ever. And I think it's just a real testament to the star power that Cody Rhodes has, that John Cena was able to turn heel against him, and Cody be the pivotal face that he's going up against, right? Because the issue back in the day also was that John Cena didn't have a good baby face to go against, and he was making so much money merchandise wise and just really powering the company. Now he doesn't need to be that guy. Now he can just go out there and have fun with it. So I think it's a real testament to all the key players involved. And I have given The Rock shit in the past, and I probably still will, but I am here for the openness that he apparently has, right? And yes, he does want certain things to go his way, but when it doesn't seem to, and the fans are wanting a different direction, he's able to play, right? And he's all in, right? No, keep saying no pun intended. I don't mean all these little references, but he is there to play game, right? And he is willing to make the changes that it appears that he needs to. So shout out to him as well. But those are just some kind of briefish thoughts on everything that's happened. I'm again super so just still shocked that we're living in the world right now and that we were all able to witness John Cena's heel turn. Will this be as big as Hulk Hogan's or bigger than Hulk Hogan's? My opinion, it's still a little early to tell. But damn, if it's not number one, it's going to be number two, right? So until next time, guys, and until we get some follow up, and until the next crazy shit happens, take care and be safe out there. And like I always say, enjoy some wrestling. Stay safe.